What's good, everybody? Thank you guys for joining. This game was a heck of a game, man. I thought about going live last night, but I really wanted to kind of get into a lot of different things. And before we get into it, of course, I wanted to make sure that I was able to rewatch the game and at least look past a couple of different things. Now, the Raiders, of course, you guys know, lost 35-31. In my opinion, I think there were a couple of key reasons why the Raiders lost. And let's just get right into it. First and foremost, I think easily by far, the biggest reason why the Raiders lost this game is because of the key drops by Nelson Aguilar and a couple of other reasons as well. But I think those key drops were the biggest reason why we lost. And we'll get into the Abram play in just a second. But let's talk a little bit about the Aguilar drops. Now, the very first one came right before halftime. Keep in mind, the Raiders are driving downfield, right? We get all the way down to about the 45-yard line. So we're 10 yards away from getting a field goal. It's second down, and Carr puts a dime on Nelson Aguilar. Like, it literally hit him right into his shoulder, his chest plates, and hits him in the shoulder. And the ball drops right off of him. And it always ticks me off how receivers use their chest to catch passes, because that's how you drop passes, right? Unless you put your hands out there, you're going to drop passes. The quarterback throws the ball too fast, and it's going to hit you too hard, and it's going to bounce right off of you. On second down, that drop by Nelson Aguilar basically made it, I think, 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8. And people are saying, well, we still have third down to convert. And I want you guys to ask yourself, right? If you're a type of person that says we still had third down on that first Aguilar drop, I want you guys to think about this. Is it better for an offense to have 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line, or is it better to have 3rd and 8 at the 47-yard line, right? Just think about it. You can either have first down, or you can continue, with the third down play. Obviously, in my opinion, it makes sense if it's first down. With that being stated, that drop by Aguilar pretty much set us up for third, kind of long. Obviously, we didn't get it. Carr throws it away, and we end up punting the ball to KC. And KC drove right downfield, and luckily, we got an interception, right? Trayvon Mullen got that interception right before half. But if you guys think about it, had we completed that pass, Nelson Aguilar just caught that first drop, we could have at least gotten 3 more points. At the very minimum, 3 more points. And who knows, what if we scored a touchdown, right? To take it a step further, on on one of the later drives in the third quarter. Now, keep in mind, at this point of the game, the Raiders are up by 3 points, right? And we have the ball, right? Think about this. If we score a touchdown, it's going to be very hard for the Chiefs to win the game at that point. Because we'd be up by 2 possessions. We're up by 3 points, and Carr had no one open. He breaks to his right, and he throws a beautiful pass to Nelson Aguilar, and Aguilar drops it one more time, man. Those 2 drops, especially the second one, right? The second one would have put us at maybe the 35-yard line. We could have at least had another 3 points. So at the very minimum, Nelson Aguilar's drops led to at least 6 points being left off the board. Assuming we get 0 more yards right after he caught those passes and we kicked 2 field goals. But at the best, we could have gotten 14 more points. Those 2 plays, I think, were easily the biggest reason as to why the Raiders kind of lost this game. Now, at the same time, 35-31, the game was very competitive. Don't get me wrong. This game could have went either way, right? Like, literally, this game could have went either way. I think the Kansas City Chiefs did a really good job by running the football. And if you guys watch my game previews, and especially episode 19 of the Raiders pod, you guys would have remembered that I said the one thing the Chiefs are going to want to do is they're going to want to run the ball. All right, they're not going to want to get into a shootout. And 35-31, it's a lot of points, but technically it wasn't really a shootout. In the first half, it definitely kind of felt like that, especially in the first quarter. But when you kind of looked at the statistics throughout the game, I mean, in the third quarter, there weren't really that many points scored. 7 points was all that was scored in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, of course, as you guys know, 28 total points scored. But the Chiefs definitely did not get into that shootout mode. They came out and they ran the football. If you look at the statistics, right, you look at things like the number of plays. KC ran 73. The Raiders ran 57. You look at the number of yards. time of possession, the number of times Kansas City picked up a first down from running the ball as opposed to the Raiders from running the football, right? KC got 10 first downs rushing. The Raiders got 5. So when you look at all these different statistics, Kansas City's game plan was to control the ball, control the clock. They knew that if the Raiders were up with 2 minutes left in the game and Kansas City had the ball, they knew that they can easily go downfield and score. And that's exactly what happened, which takes me to the next point. Jonathan Abram. Let's talk about this a little bit. You guys all know, and I know for a fact, everybody's blaming Jonathan Abram. And here's the thing, right? I've looked at the play a number of times, at least 15 times I've looked at that play. I even went and looked at that play using the NFL's tracker that they have, right? I don't really know what it's called. I think it's like the Next Gen Stats tracker. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm actually going to post a video most likely later on today or tomorrow for the premium members to this channel. I'm going to post a video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys exactly how it was drawn up, exactly what the Raiders were kind of showing, and how that play kind of went. But basically what that play was, at least from the kind of the way they showed it out, it looked like it should have been a cover for the Raiders. So what that means is, if you split the field right in half, on two ends, the two deep ends, you have Abram and you have Arnett, and on the other side, you have Jeff Heath and Trayvon Mullen. Those 4 guys are basically responsible for the 4 deep parts of the field. Underneath them, you had Morrow, you had Kwiatkowski, and then I think it was Nevin Lawson. So you had those 3 guys essentially covering the underneath. Now, here's the thing. When Patrick Mahomes ran to his right, Jonathan Abram, who should have had the left, or I should say, he should have had like the middle to the left part of the deep zone, he kind of ran to his right, and Kelsey got right behind him. Now, here's the thing. I've watched this play a number of times, like 100% a number of times, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And this is the thing. I want you guys to really understand what I'm saying here. The last time we played the Chiefs, and even in this game, we did a ton of mixed coverages, right? Where like we would show a cover 4 or maybe a cover 3, and it would be completely different. Like instead of a cover 3 zone, on the left side of the field, we'll just have a player playing man-to-man, and they'll play zone everybody else. Or we'll have 4 guys playing zone and 3 guys playing man-to-man, right? We're mixing coverages, and that's one of the ways the Patriots beat the Chiefs, and that's how the Raiders beat the Chiefs last time we played them. So even though that final play looked like it should have been a cover 4, it might not happen, right? We don't know what the play call was, right? It could have been a play where they showed cover 4. Really, it was a cover 3 with Abram actually coming up and playing the middle of the field, because this is what I saw. And it wouldn't make a lot of sense that Abram would have came up, right, and not played deep. You know, when Kelsey ran his route, he was already behind Abram, right? Like from a depth perspective, he was like 3 yards past Abram. And it doesn't make sense if you're playing cover 4 that you're not going to play super far back, right? Like, or at least 4 yards further than the closest receiver or tight end running towards you. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, maybe Abram was playing that robber, right, which is right in the middle of the field. At the end of the day, we won't 100% know. Like, we can guess that this was what the defense should have been, but unless Paul Gunther or Abram or one of the players comes out and says, hey, this is what was actually called on the field, this was his exact responsibility, we'll never 100% know. Now, it does look like it was his fault, right? At least from the perspective where we watched the play, we kind of see what the play should have been, right? Should have been a quarters cover 4. But we don't 100% know, right? We don't 100% know. With that being stated, let's talk a little bit about, and we're going to move on. Let's talk a little bit about the offense. And let's give some props out, right? There's one player that basically would have won us this game had we won the actual game. Like, it would have been 100% on him. And that's Derek freaking Carr, man. 23 of 31, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. And really, that one interception doesn't really count, right? Because that one interception kind of came on the last drive. You know, we didn't really have that much of a chance to score anyways. But with that being stated, we really have to think about this, right? DC, like, he came out, he was like 12 of 13, 150 yards, a touchdown. Like, the guy played very well. And I think with this game, I think what it proved to a lot of people, and it definitely changed my opinion of DC. Not this game, but I would say a couple of games back, that DC, if he continues to play the type of football he's playing, where he's safe, he's being conservative, but when needed, he can take those deep shots over the top. If he keeps playing like that, the Raiders are going to win a lot of games, and we can absolutely win a Super Bowl. With this team, with this quarterback, of course, we need to get a little bit better on the defensive side. But DC, man, like 275 yards, and that too, like more than just the yards and the statistics. When the Raiders needed him to score, right, when we needed a touchdown from DC, he got it done, right? Like 100%, he got it done. He drove us all the way downfield, and he scored a touchdown, and he put us up by 3 points. DC put us into the position to win this game, right? With that being stated, Waller also had a good game, 7 catches, 88 yards, a touchdown. Other than Waller, like Aguilar, I would have said he had a good game, but those 2 drops were absolute killer. And because of those 2 drops, I don't think he had the game that he could have potentially had, right? He had a touchdown, 88 yards, 6 catches, but those 2 drops, man, those were killer, right? Flat out killer. Renfro, he had 2 big catches, right? That's typically what Hunter Renfro does. On the defense side of the ball, there's definitely a couple of players that deserve huge props. First and foremost, Trayvon Mullen easily had the best game on defense. Keeping in mind, I haven't had the all-22 film yet to actually fully watch the game. But he had an interception. He had a huge hit on Tyreek Hill, and he had 2 pass breakups, as well as a number of tackles. With that being stated, if you look at Trayvon Mullen and you look at what just from the defensive perspective, what Paul Guenther's able to do with the defense, with these corners, Trayvon Mullen allows you to single-handedly cover whatever receiver it may be. And that too, the Chiefs want to go deep, and they went deep, and they weren't able to connect deep. Patrick Mahomes did not throw any passes or complete any passes further than 20 yards. I think he was 0 of 4 on passes further than 20 yards. That's because the Raiders secondary locked it up. And I'm very proud of this secondary. I'm very proud of what they were able to do. And I know we didn't win the game, and I know a lot of the reason why we didn't win the game is because of the defense. But you also got to keep in mind, our defense did not practice all week, right? That's a huge disadvantage, not being able to practice. Like, you can get on Zoom and you can watch the defense as, you know, things are being implemented. But how many questions can you ask the DC? How much can you talk to the guy next to you and say, hey, what happens if this guy does this, right? How are we going to handle that situation? If you can't discuss that stuff in person, Zoom is not going to get that done, right? So with that being stated, I'm still very proud of the secondary. Nevin Lawson had a huge game. He had a couple of pass breakups, and he had a lot of good plays, right? Where he was like right there, about to break the pass up. And then obviously Jonathan Abram, I would say, had a good game. I don't know about that last play, right? But he had 10 tackles. He had a couple of big hits. You know, I really want to see what the coach's film looks like. I definitely look forward to hearing what Paul Guenther, Gruden are going to say after they're able to kind of watch the tape and come back to us. 2 other players, and the last 2 players on the defense that deserve huge props is our linebackers. Nicholas Morrow and Kwiatkowski, man. 17 combined tackles. Quit had a quarterback hit. Morrow had a huge pass breakup. These 2 linebackers together are they're a very solid tandem. And again, I know it's not pretty because we still lost this game. That too on the backs of this defense. But if you think about it, right? If you think about where this defense is today as opposed to 2 years ago or even last year, our defense will win us games. You know, flat out. There will be games where our defense comes up big, and they already have, right? Look at the Chargers game. They've already came up big in that one specific game. They will come up big. On top of that, I think one of the things that people might not think a whole lot about is if you look at one player specifically that we missed, and I think it's a player that people might not think about, is Cleveland Farrell. You know, he's not the greatest pass rusher, but what he does is he stops the run, right? Like, he 100% stops the run. And in my opinion, if you think about from an offensive perspective, the Chiefs ran the ball 27 times for 108 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. Like, that's, in my opinion, I think that right there, not having Cleveland Farrell would have had a huge impact. So had we had him, maybe they wouldn't have ran the ball as much as they did. Like, they controlled the game by running the football. If you make the Chiefs one-dimensional, if you make the Kansas City Chiefs throw the football and not be able to run the football, they can win. But when you play a divisional team like the Raiders, a team that's built to stop you from passing the ball, right? You invest three top 40 picks into the secondary. You put all this money into the secondary. You get linebackers that can cover. You pay them a lot of money. If you're one-dimensional and only going to throw the ball against the Raiders, you're not going to win, right? It's going to come down to the fact that unless you're able to control the clock, and again, the Kansas City Chiefs did do that, right? They controlled the clock. They ended up winning because they ran the football. And I think Cleveland Farrell would have been a solid player to have. Another player, LaMarcus Joyner, was out. And had we had LaMarcus Joyner, I think it could have been a much different ball game. Again, at the end of the day, you have to think about the players we were missing, right? Maybe Corey Littleton could have had an impact as well. Who knows, right? Of course, Morrow has really replaced him, and it looks like Morrow is that linebacker. Quick story. I always look back to that very first preseason game where Nicholas Morrow came into the game, and he was playing safety for the Raiders. Like, I think he was number 38 or 39, or maybe he was 40 in the 40s. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember when he came in, he was playing strong safety. And then the second preseason game, they put him in that linebacker, and he looked pretty good. But there's a reason why he's a good coverage player. It's because he did play linebacker, or he did play safety, and then he did convert to linebacker, right? With that being stated, it's interesting. It's very interesting with the players that the Raiders have kind of brought in, and how they've kind of designed to win, right? They've designed this team, they designed this defense to stop the pass. Now, obviously, it never worked out when you look at it from the perspective that the Kansas City Chiefs drove downfield and scored a touchdown. But I want to flip that scenario, right? And I want you guys to think about this. If the Raiders are down by 4 points with 2 minutes left in the ball game, we have 2 timeouts, and Derek Carr has the football, do you think the Raiders end up going downfield and scoring a touchdown and winning the game? I think absolutely. And then you flip the script and say, well, now the Raiders are up by 4, and the Chiefs have 30 seconds or 31 seconds with 1 timeout. Do the Chiefs go downfield and score? I don't think so. I think we would have been able to stop them as well. So, this game came down to a couple of you can even look back and say, hey, this game came down to the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs won the coin toss, right? And they decided to defer, which means the Raiders had to receive the football. With that being stated, if that coin flip went to the Raiders, and, the first half, each team scored touchdowns, right? Like, there was no field goals. Obviously, the Raiders kind of settled for a field goal, I think at the 1 or 2 yard line. But if the Raiders won the coin toss, the game could have went completely different. Like, it would have shifted the complete opposite of how it kind of ended up, With that being stated, I think overall this was a really good game. I think the Raiders did so many good things. You just look at some of the statistics. The yards weren't great, but like the efficiency on third down, we had less penalties. Red zones, right? We're 4 of 5 in the red zone. You look at the turnover battle, right? Technically, we actually won the turnover battle. If you don't really count the fact that the 1 interception doesn't really count if you consider the fact of that situation of kind of where things were at. But overall, man, I'm proud of this team, man. You guys should be proud too. You guys should still be representing the Raiders. At the end of the day, it's not the biggest loss, right? We didn't get embarrassed, right? The Kansas City Chiefs had this huge mental thing where they're talking about how pumped up they are, how hyped they are. The media was talking about how we're going to get blown out. None of that happened, man. Like, this game was so much closer than what most people thought it would end up being, right? Like, this game was what it was, right? The Raiders had a chance to win this game. Like, the very last play, it could have went one way or the other. And 6-4 is not the worst record. Like, we're still in the playoffs. We're still in the wild card hunt. Are we going to win this division? Who knows, right? At the end of the day, the Chiefs still have to play Tampa Bay in Tampa. They still have to play the Saints in New Orleans, right? They have to travel, and they can easily lose both of those games. I think this Chiefs team is not as good as the Chiefs have been in the past, right? I think the Raiders can absolutely end up winning this game. If it came down to it again, I 50-50, right? I can go either way. If we see the Chiefs in the playoffs, even if it's in KC, it really does not matter. I think the Raiders are built to beat the Kansas City Chiefs team. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. I know it wasn't as long, right? It wasn't like a full-on like the Raider pod videos. But I appreciate all the comments that you guys have been leaving. I do go back and I do read all of them, right? So if you guys are talking shit, I know because I go back and read all of them. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do want to let you guys know before you guys leave here, I am going to break down that final Jonathan Abram play like 100%. I am going to break it down. I'll probably focus in on a couple of key plays for this week's film study. I will try having it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, 100%, I will for sure have it Wednesday. With that being stated, I will also, maybe later on today, have like a premium video for those of you guys that are premium members. And in that video specifically, we'll talk about the quarters coverage and why it might not have been quarters coverage on that last play by Jonathan Abram. I really want to get into that and talk about that a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's just one game. We're on to next week, and we can keep this thing rolling. 6-4, we're still primed to make playoffs. Make sure you guys enjoy your day, and I will see you guys next time with another video.